Hey famous warrior, welcome back to our channel.
You are my forever love. You are my
All right, guys, we are doing this is the last episode of our 12 in 12 collection. If you've been following along, you know that September is Caesar and I's month of love. We celebrate our wedding anniversary in the middle of September. And for the past 3 weeks, today being the 4th, we have been sharing some lessons that we've been learning along the way. How we've learned those lessons, mistakes we've made as we've learned those lessons, and a few funny stories here and there. And we're hoping that this last installment will be just as good for you guys, that it will encourage you, inspire you, make you laugh, challenge you, and all the things. So today we're going to be talking about teamwork, forgiveness, and when the kids come along. So let's start it off, Caesar. Let's talk about teamwork. What does teamwork mean to you, and why do you think it's been important for us like these 12 years?
Just as we've been saying every week, we're just here to share our story and hope that somebody gets encouraged. And if you missed last week's video, you can find it. Just click the link up here and then you can watch that video so that you follow along. Teamwork.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's you know, when you hear team, you always think multiple members. You know, when you hear, because you know Zambia, we're a footballing nation.
Yeah.
So whenever you hear something that has to do with team, you're thinking more than 5-6 people.
Definitely not 2 people.
Yeah, definitely not 2 people. You always think team is more than 2 people.
Yeah.
And getting with the idea of being in a marriage and being 2, one in a sense,
Yes.
is a team, was an adjustment for me, because I never knew what a team was and how a team worked or looked like.
Yeah.
You know, I think nowadays things are a bit different, but I think we need to be purposeful, and we'll probably touch on this when we talk about the kids coming along. But if I had growing up, if I had been I was on a soccer team, not really like I played like 1 match, then I was dropped. Yeah, but I had never been exposed to having a coach who, you know, tells you stuff about teamwork and how a team works and all that thing, all those things.
Yeah.
When I got married, what helped me was my job. I had an awesome supervisor who she loved teams, and they were both talking about teams and stuff like that. So that kind of helped me, but it still didn't hit home that my marriage was also a team.
Yeah.
I was just like, team. What kind of team is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it had to take adjustments for me to really get to the program that we were a team. And when that happened, and that's how come I started, you know, seeing us more in a sense of it's us against the world kind of thing. You know, whatever we do, we're doing it from this side. We're together on this side.
Yeah.
And that picture really, there was this one time, I know I didn't tell this story,
When?
but you know, this one time when I just thought that the marriage was over.
Yeah.
I really, I'm gonna
Guys,
say,
No, just hold on, like hold your thought. He's the dramatic one in this situation, as you will see as he tells this story, because yeah. Carry on.
Yeah, I really thought that we were done. I just thought, Lord, like, there's no going back from this. Like, how is this gonna work? And I know that you're going to remind me what it was, because I can't remember. But I remember a time when we were fighting about something, and we were on opposite sides, as in we were on opposite sides. I was in my corner, you were in your corner, and we're just like, no. And, you know, it reached a point where we had to invoke the pastoral thing, you know.
Yeah, I
and
remember.
we said, no, we need to go and see the pastors.
Okay, let me tell you what
You were going to tell the story?
No. I want
Okay.
to tell you what we were
All right,
arguing
go ahead,
about.
go ahead.
So we were moving house. We were shifting from the house that we were in, moving to a new house. And the new house obviously had more wall space and stuff. So we figured, okay, we need to do some picture situation here. We went looking for picture frames, found the picture frames, but we didn't buy them on the day. Like, we just found them. We agreed, okay, yes, these are the ones. And then the next day you went to buy them yourself. I think I was busy. I was doing something.
Okay.
You went to buy them, and you claimed you had forgotten. You didn't know which
But
picture.
I
You said you informed me that you had forgotten. Yeah, so on the phone, I'm like, they were right there. They were the white ones. What do you mean we were together? And you were just adamant that you had forgotten and you were leaving the store. And I was like, how can you leave? Like, we picked them. They're the right picture frames. What if they get sold out tomorrow? Like, yeah. And then it turned into a whole thing because I did not understand or believe how
I had forgotten.
you can forget we were together the day before in the shop. We looked at so many other things we chose together.
Yeah.
And then now you've forgotten.
Yeah. So I think fast forward to now, you can believe I'd
So the marriage
forgotten,
is
right?
over,
So we argued so much, and then there was just tension, and it wasn't going away. And so we said no. We reached out to them and we said no. We need to see you. There's something that we can't resolve, and it was major for us.
It was major for you.
Oh, it wasn't major for you?
It was major, but not major as in the marriage is over major.
Oh, for me it was like no, like I don't know. But yeah, but when we saw them, obviously you can imagine their what they thought.
They
about
thought
the
we were
situation.
stupid. That's what they thought.
I was trying to be nice. Yeah, they probably just thought we were stupid
Oh my
and crazy.
gosh.
But yeah, but for us it was real. But one of the things that they said in that short meeting was, you know, it was a kind of situation where you tell them what the problem was, you talk, you're emotional,
Like, then they're
and then they
expecting
didn't even address
They just
it.
took
You
their
know, they
ass,
just yeah. But anyway, they said something which was very profound. They said, look, you guys need to understand that you are on the same team, and that stuck with me. Like, you're on the same team, and I was like, what does that mean? You know, and from then on, like every time that we would have an argument and stuff, you know, it will always have to go back to, look, what team am I on right now? I'm on Team Louise. We are on this team together, so we need to be viewing this thing from one side and not from either direction. I don't know what else you've picked up on teamwork. Yeah, just to add.
I think for me, team has looked very practical.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because my primary love language is acts of service. And I grew up in a home where we did everything together. Whenever there was a task, whenever there was work to be done, like, we all chipped in.
Yeah.
It was never one person has to do it by themselves while the other doesn't assist. So when I came into the marriage, I guess that was my naive expectation that you would just behave the way my sister behaved or the way my mom behaved. Like, when I had something that I needed to get done, like, we'd just help each other.
Yeah.
And having to have those conversations and fight through those conversations, because even in those things there was your view, my view, what's normal for you, what's normal for me, and then okay, what will we make normal for us on this team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way you've put it, and I think that's important to also say, is that I think in every team, and I'll use football because Zambia is a footballing nation. Everybody loves football.
Yeah.
So, and if you're American, soccer. But yeah, if you use that sense, every team has its own strategy. They have their own strategy. They have their own view of how they're going to approach each game, or each situation, as you would like.
Yeah.
You can copy all you want, but if you don't understand the intricacies of that team, you will not achieve what they have achieved.
Yeah.
So I think it's important. It took us a while for us to really get into the rhythm of what works for us. How are we going to help each other on our team? How are we going to each pick up slack, and say, okay, I'm doing this, you're doing this. It's a dance that, you dance and you butt heads and whatever. At the beginning, you would always want me to do stuff, the biggest one was, Caesar, can you help with the dishes? That was a big thing for her, you just, can you help with the dishes? And if you know me, there's things that I don't like doing. Like I don't like reading. I don't like reading. I don't like doing dishes.
Oh my gosh.
Growing up, my mom would always fight with me. My sister would always fight with me because they would do all these things and say, no, the guys need to help out, because we only have one sister.
Yeah.
So us guys, she would always complain to say, no, the guys are not helping. And my mom would say, you guys, you need to help. And they would all say, no, okay, let's do dishes. And I was the youngest, so they would say, okay, the youngest would do dishes. I hated doing dishes. I don't want to do dishes. So I think if in that situation, it's not that I was lazy, but it's just because I didn't want to do dishes. So if I was given something else, I would have probably thrived to do something else other than the dishes, because no, I just don't like dishes. So that's something that we fought about for quite a long time. I don't even know how we resolved that. But I guess it's the kind of thing where you work on your team and you see what works for your team. And this thing of looking at others, I'm not just going to say it on this section, but looking at others and looking elsewhere and saying, oh, them, I think you both just need to learn how to work with each other and how to be a better version of yourself on your team. Yeah. Maybe let me ask you this, like for you, like, can you remember a time when you needed me to step up for the team and I wasn't really doing that?
Okay. Okay, I'll go like all the way back to the beginning. So this is literally like we are newlyweds by like 2 weeks, because we got married middle of September 2011, and every end of the month I would prepare snacks for the singles group at church. It was a way that I was making extra money even before we got married, so it's something that we knew that I had to continue doing after we got married, just to supplement our budget and stuff. So we get married mid-month, we go on our honeymoon, we come back. So this is like 1 week in to now marriage back home post-honeymoon. And
honeymoon honeymoon ends.
Yes, the honeymoon. No. No. Unfortunately, in this situation, it ended. Like when we left the honeymoon, we left it.
Okay.
Then we came back home to reality. Okay. Anyway, so Sunday was a working day for us. That was the day that when the singles group would have their meetings, like in the afternoon. So we get home from work, have lunch, and then I know I have to now start preparing. And it was snacks for, I think back then it was like 300 people. So it's not like a small group of people. It was like some work needed to go into it.
Yeah.
And because I had been doing it at home before I got married, my sister would help me on Sundays. We just knew, like, last Sunday of the month, this is what we're doing. We're doing this for Louise has this order. So that day, I don't know, I guess I just took it for granted that I didn't need to ask for help. Like, this is our money, this is our budget, So I go in the kitchen, I'm, making the samosa, frying samosas, making sandwiches. It was like a whole thing, a whole order, cupcakes, the whole thing. And my friend is in the living room watching soccer. And I'm there like, so what do? How do I go about this? Because, like, can't you see that I'm here? I'm overwhelmed. And then, you have those moments where, like, okay, Lord, give me wisdom. Like, okay, manipula sakuti, kuno, am I going to manage in this thing? Like, So, arguments like those, and like, hey, I need help. And it's like, oh, okay. So for one, it's like you don't know that there's help needed, which to me is like apparent.
I should mention here that so there's two things that happen here.
Yes.
And I don't know whether this has improved or not. You can speak to that. But Louise has this vision of help that everybody needs to see, that there's help needed, and then you just do it because that's how you grow up. That's you see there's a need, you chip in, okay? And on the other hand, for me, I want to be asked. Because I don't know why. Like, I feel it's the kind of thing where I feel like I'm useful, kind of thing. When I'm asked, I feel like I'm useful.
Okay.
Hey, can you help me do this? But yes, there is a place where you have to see that there's a need and then you help. And I think I'm not blowing my own horn, but I think I have improved in that area where, I know that, okay, here, Louise is going to need help here.
Yeah.
And I can see that, I need to step up here. But obviously, so just wanted to put that out there.
Yes, thanks for for pointing that out. And I can agree that it has improved, and not just for you, like, me knowing that, okay, if I need help, my husband can't read my mind. Like, I need to ask. And there are times now where you even offer help that I don't even think of. Like, I didn't think I needed that, but I did. And then you have already, like, done it. So that's the point where we've gotten to. But it didn't happen overnight, for sure. Yeah. So let's segue into forgiveness, which is a big one.
Yeah.
Yes, because I don't think any marriage can survive without daily forgiveness, like practicing forgiveness on a daily. Because when you live with somebody, you're going to see everything about them. They're going to rub you the wrong way. They're going to have bad days. They're going to be stressed out. They're not going to be at their best. And so opportunities to be offended or to hold on to, anger, resentment, and all that stuff is very, very possible.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about it. What are your thoughts?
I think for me, like, this is one of the areas that like falls right into my personality, and I don't have to struggle with it.
Yeah.
My personality has always been being a peacemaker and not really. My mom always used to say, like, if something happens that you're not happy with and you're really upset and stuff, should always say, just forget about it. Just forget it. That was a thing, like, just forget it. And the two people who were, I think, in my family, I think me and my brother, my late brother Gary, were like, are like the ones who were like really close to that area. And all of us, I mean, took there all of us have that tendency of not really keeping something in the heart, like, you know. So coming from that kind of an arrangement, like I've never struggled with if I was unhappy with something and I'm really upset. Like that's why most of the times you would say stuff like, you are, you know, like this person, like we just, how come you've moved on your own, or something like that. Simply because I don't know, that's just my tendencies to sort of like, oh, think about it, I'm upset, I think, then I process in my own head. The next day I'm like, anyway, never mind, whatever. So I've never really struggled with that. Maybe you can share your experience with forgiveness, and if there's been struggle with that. Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say struggle, but definitely learning to rely on the Holy Spirit to help you. Because when you're learning your partner, especially those first 2-3 years, there's so many things that are normal and natural for you that you're expecting should be normal and natural for your partner, and then you're like, why in the world is this, like, why are we even having this conversation? You know? And then when you're in that space, you kind of get in defense mode because you know what you know, and you're trying to defend what you know and how you do things. And so things can be said and the conversation can tend to spiral. And I think for me, the area that I've had challenge with the most in forgiving has always been word related. Like if I could pick like the biggest thing, it's always been words. And again, that's because of my makeup. So my primary love language are acts of service and words of affirmation. Like I take words very seriously. So when there's been times where you're angry, you say certain things, you know, in the heat of the moment or without thinking clearly. And then I'm left now processing that and wondering, okay, because I would not say something I don't mean, then I tend to feel like, okay, so he meant what he said, so is that how he feels about me all the time? You know? And then if the conversation is not hard for me to get that clarity, the stories just keep on getting uglier and uglier and uglier in my own head by myself. So I think the one thing that helps, and this can't always be possible, but the one thing that helps is being honest with where you are. Like being honest with searching your heart, like, okay, do I have a root of bitterness in my heart towards my spouse? And where is that coming from? Can we have a conversation? Can I share how I'm feeling? Can you also bring clarity about what you were thinking in that moment? Can I take my concerns in prayer to God? Like, it's not everything that I have to bring to you. Most of the things I can process them with my Heavenly Father and say, I'm angry or I'm resentful, I'm feeling bitter about this. Help me to forgive this person. So that would be my experience.
I guess how do you navigate that? Where I say something, it registers with you, the following day I'm fine, I've done my thing, made my peace,
and you even want to have sex
and no, I don't.
Yes, sometimes
no,
you
I
do.
don't.
You do.
No,
Yes, you do.
I think in last week's episode, that's why I was saying that in moments like that, I don't, because I know you're not okay.
But you've moved on, and you don't
Yes,
know that
but
I'm not okay. There are
I've
times
moved
when you
on.
don't know that I'm okay.
I think the times when you
That
feel
I'm not
like
okay
I have
again.
moved on are times when, like, I just want to have general conversations, and then you're like, but we haven't talked about the other stuff. You look like that's what you're thinking. You know what I mean? But I think I do know that you're not okay. You still have not come to a conclusion of, you know, what happened. I can still know that. So in that moment, I'm trying. I guess I'm also on my end. I'm trying to instead of I'm trying to just, let's move on in a wrong way, and not let's move on or let's come back to the table sometimes, and stuff like that. But how do you navigate that?
I think it depends on the situation. Yeah. There are like smaller, I can say it's a smaller situation where I'll talk to a girlfriend, I'll talk to my sister, I'll pray about it, and then I'm okay. Then there are other situations where it's like no, like
It's
I
not
need,
working.
like I like Lord, I need clarity, like I need clarity from this person. He needs to explain, like, I need to understand. Yeah. And sometimes it also stems from me wanting, like, feeling bad. Like, I don't want to feel like I have offended you. So when certain things are said and it seems like that's how you've been feeling like the whole time, it makes me wonder, so like the whole time this person, like
The whole
the whole time, like I would have made an adjustment,
Yeah.
like if he had told, like, so I start now feeling like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so last topic of the month.
Yeah.
Yes, 12 years married, 6 years being parents, 6.5 years being
6.5
parents
years,
to one Caleb Leroy. Yes, so let's talk about how we have navigated things in our marriage, our relationship, parenting so far, any nuggets that we can share, any funny stories that we can share. Yeah, in that department.
Oh yeah. We've talked about this, and I think when before the kids came along, like we kind of like had a picture of what we wanted, goals and the path that would take, and so kids come along, we're like, we had our values and we kept those. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Where we knew, okay, the kids have to sleep at a certain time. It wasn't easy doing that, but we did it. And then there was just certain things that that we've kept doing and not stopped because of the kids.
Like what?
Yeah, I think we still have sanity around us time. That's big.
Yeah.
Because people say when kids come along, then you start drifting apart.
Yeah.
Which
Or the husband who feels
yeah,
like he
you know.
doesn't have attention.
yeah. And I think what has helped a lot is having that routine has helped,
Yeah.
because then as a team member, I know exactly what to do. I know, okay, the kids are going to have dinner this time, so I can say, hey, what are they eating? Okay, I know where to find the food. It's already there.
Yeah.
It's not all in
In my head.
in your head, so having such kind of routine has helped our team
Yeah.
still keep sanity
Yeah.
in those areas.
Yeah.
I think there is a lot of, when kids come along, there's a lot of navigation that has to happen, and mostly it falls on the wife. It falls on the woman, the mom, to figure out the meals, all these things. And I'm happy that you did figure out those things, but then again, you created a schedule to say, look, the meals were figured out. The meals are done once, I don't know, in a blue moon.
What?
Everything is packed up.
No. They don't once a week.
Not in a blue moon, once a week. The meals are done once a week. They're put in little boxes, frozen,
Yes.
and when we need to use them, we get them and we do that. But that was as a result of a lot of thought process and a lot of heartache, just trying to find sanity. I think you can. I think talk about that.
Yeah.
Talk about that first, because I think that's important.
Yeah, I think as someone who likes things to be done in an orderly way or thinks administratively, I had to figure out how I was going to put that gift, those, those strengths, so to say, to use to create sanity. Because when kids start coming along, it gets crazy really, really quick. And it did for us. Like, we were not immune to that. It did. I think it was easier when Caleb came along. We were very excited. Both of us were very hands-on kind of thing. And then we had Kiara not long after, 17 months apart. And I feel like with Caesar, you stepped up big time when Caleb was born. Like, big time, far above and beyond what I could have even asked you, like, to do as a dad. Very hands-on. Bath time was done by, like, so many things that you just took and I never had to think about. But when we had Kiara, you remained at that level. You remained at one child level. And I had to now operate at
But
two.
I still bathed Kiara.
Yes, you did, but that was about all that you did. That was pretty much about all that you did. And there was more that was needed. And I think even when people look at, you do this, meal planning, bulk cooking, I have a schedule of what the kids eat during the week. That's not because I just like those things. It's because I needed sanity.
Yeah.
Like, I needed a plan. Lord, I can't be thinking about what to feed these kids every day
single
after
day.
work. I need to think about this one time and never have to think about it again. So that's where that stuff came from. And it also came from, I think, a time of just being desperate with the Lord. Like, seriously being desperate with the Lord. Because even when I look at how we do bulk cooking, you might be wondering what that is. We cook for our home once every 2 weeks. And then we prep the kids' food when we do that, but then also every week. So the kids get their stuff prepped every week. But for us, cooking only happens in this house once every 14 days, literally. Yes, every day we'll cook, things like rice, pasta, potatoes, but the main bulk of the meal is done every 14 days. When I started doing this, it was done every week. So every Friday was my cook day. And that came out of just desperation in God's presence. Like, Lord, my friend is not stepping up. And, like, I'm going to lose my mind. Literally, I need wisdom. And that bulk cooking was literally just wisdom from the Holy Spirit. Because I had never seen that in my life. It's not like my mom used to do that and I was like, I remember this. It was literally not something that I could have manufactured in my own mind. It was something that the Holy Spirit had to give me and say, this is your solution, do this. Yeah.
I can feel for you. Because your friend here, that list? Reading.
Reading, what else is on the list? Cooking,
dishes. And cooking. It's on that list. Yeah. But I think it goes without saying that yes, it was a God thing, but I'm happy that you did that. Yeah, because there is lots of benefits.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier for me and anybody else to just step in and help.
Yeah.
Where there's a plan. Where there's chaos. Oof,
You don't want to go
Lord.
anywhere near the chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so kids coming along, what else? You hear all those stories, adjustments.
Stories like what?
No, just the big one is when kids come along, there's sort of like a shift. They say, no, there's attention more to the kid. Oh, and this is one thing that we did from the get-go was our kids never slept in our room.
They never slept in our bed.
In our bed. They've never slept in our bed. And that was on purpose because from the word go, they were in their room. And so we kept the sanity in that area as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm more of a solution kind of person. And so if I see a problem, there has to be a solution.
Yeah.
That obviously has its own negative impact on the team. But yeah, and there has to be a solution. So I think if kids are going to drive a wedge between the couple, I think they're just lazy. No, like seriously, they're just lazy. They just don't want to think. Yeah, so you have to keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree, because we love our kids and we thank God for our kids. Every parent would say that.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that your kids are their time in your home is very short when you look at the duration and longevity of your marriage. When you look at, okay, this is a lifelong commitment, I'm going to be married to this person 50 plus years.
Yeah.
Your kids are only in your house between 16 and 18 years.
Yep.
And then they're gone and they never look back.
No.
When they go, they gon' go. And then you have to remain with your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for us, like from the beginning, and again, this is not anything that I can say I read a book or I was told. That this is literally just wisdom from the Holy Spirit. Just going to God and saying, this is what I've heard. I've heard that this happens and I don't want that to happen. Like Caesar is my best friend and I don't want him to feel like I'm not giving him attention. Quality time is his love language, and I don't want him to feel like because the kids are here, So when you're in that space where you can be open with God about what's happening in your life, he wants to give you practical solutions. Yeah, he wants to give you wisdom. So for us, the whole kids not being in our bed, that was like a non-negotiable. And yes, it's hard. Like moms, it is hard because you're tired and you don't want to get up and walk to the other room to breastfeed every 2 hours. But in the long run, it helps. Like for us, when I was breastfeeding, yes, I'm the one who had to wake up every 2 hours. Then it changed to every 3 hours. You have to do it. But then when they stopped breastfeeding and they moved to being on the bottle, guess who started waking up and giving them the midnight bottle? This guy. Yeah. So again, back to team, back to finding solutions. I think also thinking long term, because something can seem good and convenient in the moment, but then you're not seeing that it's actually digging a hole that you won't manage to get out of long term. And the same goes for even like sleep training, like you mentioned last week. Was it? Yeah, it was last week that you talked about Caleb crying when we were doing the sleep training thing. It's not fun. It is not fun. But you do it for a week. You're consistent. You hold each other's hand like, no, you are not going in that room with that baby screaming. Let them scream. And then, so the pain is short term because you have a long term goal.
And I think one of the other things that has to be understood is that when seasons change, you have to accept the change. And when things and this hit me hard, I think there was that one time where it was crazy. You come back home, there's toys everywhere, there's just kids everywhere. and you feel like that's all you're doing, and I think we had an argument and you told me like, this is our life, and it sort of like shook me. Get with the program. And it's sort of like, shook me up and said, look, this is what it is right now. And seasons change, and that's the thing. It doesn't last forever. But also the fact that when you were talking about just how difficult it was to do the sleep training thing, I remember this one time that Caleb was crying, and he was crying so hard.
He was screaming.
And we had read up that it takes about 15 minutes.
Don't leave them crying for more than 15 minutes.
So at 10 minutes, the boy was screaming. 11 minutes, the boy is screaming. 12 minutes, the boy. I
And
woke
it's a
up.
hold me back situation. Hold me
I woke
back.
up. I opened the door. I'm like, I need to pick this boy up. And lo and behold, just before the 15-minute mark, he sleeps.
Yeah.
And that happened multiple times. And after that, he got used to the program. But it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But another thing I want to talk about as we wrap up here is, creating family
Memories.
memories
Yeah.
with the kids, traditions, if you'd like. And I love that one of the, when I was growing up, there were memories that were created, and when special seasons in the year came around, like Christmas, for example, you buy chicken,
Fanta.
you eat, you buy a drink and whatever. But I love that we had to create our own tradition. During Christmas time, we do the whole present thing at Christmas, and the kids look forward to Christmas time. Just opening those presents. It's gotten more and more intense with wrapping those gifts.
Takes us the whole
Oh.
night.
Yeah, but it's worth it. But there's memories like that being created with the kids, and that's something that's going to stick with them for a really, really long time. I think that's good.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think also telling them why.
Yeah.
So we don't just buy them a bunch of presents on Christmas. Like, they know. Why do we give each other gifts on Christmas? They know, because God gave Jesus as a gift to us. Like, they know that. So I think it's also being purposeful, because sometimes maybe you won't have the money to do something lavish or expensive. But I mean, we've done times where after they bath, we do the floor is lava. We play the floor is lava with the kids, and they love it. We're jumping on the furniture. The floor is lava. Let's play. And it's simple things like that. Yeah, like just finding an excuse to make a memory with them, and they know like family is important to us. Yeah.
I'm just thinking right now, because last week I had mentioned that I love nice things. And then I'm reminded that my kids also love nice things.
Too much.
They're always asking, Daddy, do you have nice things for us? Do you have something nice for us? Yeah, but one of the things I have done is I keep little toys around, a box of little toys.
Yeah.
Nice things, so to say, which I keep replenishing, so that once in a while
That they don't know about.
they don't know about them. Yeah. So once in a while I grab something from there and I give them.
And they're so happy.
So I don't have. Again, it's also part of planning, because you don't want to do with the kids. You don't want to do impulse buying. Otherwise, you'll be buying stuff for whatever.
Yeah.
So I usually get small things, stock them up, so that when it's you just pick them up and give them. Yeah.
And dad is the fun parent. Mom, I'm the homework parent. I'm the let's watch something that will edify us parent. Let's read parent. But they know when they come to me for something nice, like I'm the parent who be like, come, let me give you a kiss. Like I'm not the toy buyer. So they know when to go for specific needs. When they want cuddles and kisses, they typically come to me. When they want something nice like a toy or candy, they go to dad. So yeah.
All right.
Anything else?
I was gonna
Okay, you ask.
I was gonna say, any last, just over the episodes that we've had, like any last thoughts that you wanna say? Maybe let me go first before I forget.
Okay.
But one of the things that I would like to say is, it's being here and talking about this 12 years. It's been ups and downs, but the one thing that I can tell you guys is that God has been present. without him, we wouldn't be here.
Without him, we would have gotten a divorce over picture.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to clarify that because then you just think it's about prayer. And also, what happened to those guys who divorced? They weren't praying. So, number one, God first. Number two, you gotta just stick it out and make it work.
Yeah.
Just stop being lazy and make it work. If you've signed up for a long-term thing, lifelong commitment, so you gotta make it work.
Yeah.
So they are in my books. I have my own stuff that I'm like, okay, this is a non-negotiable, and she knows about it. If that happened, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm gonna stay here. And she's also told me the same things that are non-negotiable for her. But anything else, look, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna make it work. So it is work. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It is work.
Yeah.
And we are committed to doing the work, and taking it one day at a time. So if there's one last thing that I would encourage you guys is, just be real and open, and don't look at others. Don't look at other marriages and look at, you can get inspired. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But don't be envious. Is it the word? Oh no, but they have. How come my wife doesn't do that?
Yeah.
How come, if you see something that you want to see your partner do, bring it on the team and say, hey, can we figure out how this is done? I feel it's something cool and it's something that we can do. What do you think? Then you talk about it as a team and do it together. But the thing of, no, them, but they do, you are not, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. So just be open and be yourselves. Be yourselves. Don't try and be something that you're not. Yeah. That's what I would say.
Awesome.
Yeah. What would you say?
I would say that it's important to remember that as the two are becoming one, they are two whole people.
Yep.
You're a whole person.
Yep.
You need to bring all of you to the table.
You're not half and half.
No, you need to bring all of you. So if there are things that you are, not talking about, or, you're anxious about having certain uncomfortable conversations, you need to put that behind you. Your marriage is not going to succeed, or you're not going to enjoy it as much as you should if you're not courageous enough to have some of those conversations. And the truth is that you have to have those courageous conversations in everything, whether it's communication, whether it's, sex, whether it's parenting, whether it's values. You will have to have uncomfortable conversations. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable with your spouse, because they're the person who should see all of you. No filters, no pretense, no nothing. And they should love you without judgment. So if there's an issue there, then again, talk about it. Hey, every time I open up to you, you judge me, or you use that against me, and it makes me fearful to open up some more. So I think the key is just talking about things, bringing things on the table, and then asking God for wisdom, because marriage is His idea, marriage is His thing. He wants our marriages to succeed. So when we go to Him and we are curious enough, we are humble enough, He will certainly give us that wisdom that we need. He will resource us in a way that will make our marriages better. So really hope that this little series has been helpful for you. I hope that it has encouraged you, it has strengthened you, it has given you courage to have some of the conversations maybe that we've laughed about, and made it easier for you to be like, okay, if they can laugh about it and they went through it, then maybe it's not as bad as I thought it would be. If you are on your way to getting married, or you're a newlywed, we really hope that this has been a good resource for you guys, and will remain a good resource for many years to come. Because life is hard. Life is a whole battlefield. And unless we are willing to step up to the plate with our teammate and fight as a team, we're not going to win at it. So remember that your chance to fight with your teammate is a privilege that other people don't have. There are people who want to get married and they don't have a partner. So you are privileged to have found something good in your spouse, and honor that privilege. Take it, recognize it as a privilege, because you are definitely worth the fight. Your marriage is definitely worth you putting in the work and fighting.